Isn't a what? Oh, just yep. That's all you gotta do. Aaliyah, don't worry, okay? If you want some, what's up? Yes. Excuse me. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know it's just yucky outside. Nobody wants to come out all night like this. I get it. My name is Danielle. I'm the executive director of Side by Side. We bring you these great start nights. Tonight, we actually have a lot of really great activities after the information for you as well. So we want to make sure that you have enough time for that. When you came in tonight, you were given a folder. I think we had at least 2 lucky people here who had gift cards when they came in because they brought a friend with them. So if you bring a friend with you, then we're going to hand you back a $20 gift card of your choice. Okay? That's why I asked you.
I know,
Is this a friend?
I thought that.
And then the other promotion we have going, just so you know, for those of you that are here tonight, if you attend tonight, which you're here, and the May session, then at the May session, we're going to hand you a $40 gift card just for coming back. Okay? So make sure you register, make sure you attend in May. May's all about summer stuff, so it's a lot of fun stuff to go over. In your folder, you had an evaluation, okay? That helps us to do better each month. And then inside, the teacher side of me came out, and I put a little note and said, please don't use these until later. Because you'll need those for your activity later. And then there's also some other reference sheets in there that Ms. Arnold will refer to. All right, so without further ado, have a great time, enjoy yourselves, and here's Ms. Arnold.
So I think I've seen a lot of familiar faces, but I am Karen Arnold. I teach at James H. Harrison and have since 2001 is when I started, so it's been a few years. I am a very proud PG County educator. I am here to talk to you tonight about writing. Yay! And channeling some of that kindergarten and pre-K energy into getting their thoughts on paper. So wrestling with writing, because how many little people love writing? What they need to for school. How many have little people who love to color, love to draw, hopefully not write on things other than paper, or what they're supposed to, but that is a piece. So think about your day, and you can choose to share or not. What kind of writing do you use? To do whatever in your daily life, lists. It doesn't necessarily have to be paper pencil writing. Post-its. Texting. I write a lot. I take notes on what the kids say for their math talks and math. So I am their scribe. And now that we're at this point in the year, I really am their scribe. They're starting to run the discussions, and I am just the secretary. But we use it. Writing is important, even if it's something as simple as being able to sign your name. Now, I'm not discussing the cursive debate. That is between the powers that be, not me. But your children need to be able to write their name. They need to be able to communicate their thoughts. Now, text speech is a thing. It is a type of writing. It is not an academic writing, but it is still a way to communicate. We all use it. Raise your hand if you sent a text today. I know I've sent at least one. Or posted on a social media platform. That's kind of where language evolves. We're evolving into that now. For better or worse, it's where we are. So why are we here tonight? To talk about the why of writing and how to promote good writing with your child or children, because I know we have some multiples. And it's kind of hard to see, but this is writing. How many of you can read that? First of all, it's tiny. Second of all, it's not letters. This is pre-writing. You may see a lot of this with our pre-K. Hopefully by now we're starting to get a few more letters in there that look like letters. Kindergarten, hopefully we have a lot less of this, but we will still have it, particularly when they're writing things to each other, or, you know, I'm writing you a note, Mommy. I'm writing you a note, Dad, and you look at it and you're like, awesome. It's the question, you tell me what it says, because they know what it says. I don't. It's a lot like some of the artwork where I'm like, that, yep. Tell me about your picture. Most of the time at this point I'm pretty good, but there's occasionally something that comes up that just stumps me and I'm like, I don't know, honey. So here's some sort of writing samples that are generic. Which one looks like your child? You're starting to see some spaces. Mm-hmm. We're getting, you know, we got a picture. We got a sentence that supports it. You may see, I think it's me and maybe friend. I don't have a translation for these because these are not my writing. I borrowed these from the internet. Not teaching writing this year. I don't have the samples like I normally do. But again, if you ask this child what it says, you can see they at least label. They've got me. This might be a name. It might be friend. They can tell you exactly. Here we are. There's our dog or cat, four-legged animal. And then we kind of move to, I'm traveling in a rocket ship to Saturn, and Saturn is orange. Pluto is the smallest planet. And you can see this friend went back and they edited. They added on with the red. They went back, they fixed some things with the blue. This is where we're heading, you know, where we'd like to be in kindergarten. This and a little more advanced at this point in the year where they're able to write and generate and look back. Not necessarily 6 sentences, you know, this is a lot of sentences in here, but the first grade goal that they would like to see the children coming into is be able to write 3 sentences on their own independently. Now, I'm not talking everything spelled right. I'm not talking perfect, but at least be able to get those concepts down. It's a scary thought, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we weren't doing that until like end of first grade.
Yeah. This is in the perfect. If a first grade teacher could handpick what they wanted, that's what they are asking. Admittedly, as a kindergarten teacher, do we always hit that? No, but we try. I thought this was a neat quote because we're talking about the why. Children want to write. They want to write that first day they attend school. Let me show you my name. I want to write this. This is no accident. Before they went to school, they marked up walls, pavement, newspapers with crayon, chalk, pens or pencils, anything that makes a mark. And the child's mark says, I am. It's what we do as adults. It's our mark on things. It's our way of leaving a mark in the world with what we write. In people's lives, I love you, I care about you. What do you need me to get at the store? What can I do for you? How can I help? We put it in cards. We put it in texts. Kids want that same thing. They want to leave their mark. They love writing notes. Can I write my mom or dad a note that says I love you? Admittedly, that's my tool when they come in, they're having a tough morning. especially at the beginning of the year, kindergarten. I miss my mom. I miss my dad. Well, let's draw them a picture, write them a note so that you can give it to them at the end of the day and let them know how much you miss them. A lot of times that's enough to get us through those beginning boo-hoos. Sometimes not, but some days are harder than others. So here's to the sort of nitty-gritty of the writing. This is the goal. Capital letters at the beginning. These. As a parent, I try to stress this with my own child. Admittedly, she's in 6th grade, and now we're in the text speech. Everyone, I'm like, honey, you cannot turn in a paper that starts with a lowercase I. Like my kindergarten kids know better. You're in 6th grade, you should too. Finger spaces. These are fun. Kindergartners usually like. Pre-K, they don't stress as many of these things. Pre-K is a lot of that beginning writing, no lines. Kindergarten shouldn't have any lines. But again, I don't always control what I'm being told to do. But making sure that there's space, and they love to put those spaces in between every letter. No, honey, I need you, like, the word needs to get squished a little bit, leave more space in between. Ending punctuation. Doesn't have to be the right one necessarily yet. We'll get there. In the classroom, we have these word walls. You may have walls with words or posters with words. We use dictionaries, or we look up words online as an adult. Kids in the classroom use word walls. I know there are words that I admit to my kids, I'm sorry guys, I gotta look it up. I can't remember how to spell that. Because they're like, spell this dinosaur name. And I'm like, nope. So, making sure, that capital at the beginning. Just encourage it. Let's go back and take another look. Did you put that capital? Is that a capital letter? When we look at this book, did they start the book with a capital letter? You want to be like the author. Those finger spaces that I just mentioned. Fingers are great. Popsicle sticks, another big, let's put a popsicle stick in between the words. It can be one of the big, like, sticks from the doctor. It can be one of the little ones. They make fancy things that lots of teachers in the classrooms like to use that look like astronauts, or I was always a popsicle stick kind of teacher. I'm not spending $30 on astronauts. I can get you a $10 different colored popsicle stick. And when I teach writing, I put the sentence all together and I read it to the kids. The dog is black. And then I'll write it again with the spaces and read it again. The dog is black. Which one could you understand? And the kids are like, that second one. Like, what is wrong with you, lady? I'm like, well, when you smoosh everything together. And I'll take some of their writing samples, names not included. And I always tell them, if you want to own it, it's your work, you can own it, but I'm not going to rat you out. And I'll read it out loud just as they wrote it. And that's a very powerful lesson for a lot of them. They're like, wait, she can't read that. I can. I'm choosing not to. We gave you proper letter formation. I am not a stickler for the Y. PG County likes the U with the tail, Y, instead of the B with the tail. As long as I know it's a Y, there are better things to use my time than to fight over a Y. It's also like the lines on certain, like the J, the capital J. And that, there tends to, again, some teachers may harp on it. Like, can I read what you wrote? Do I know it's the letter J? Is it on the lines? Awesome. And you do have a copy that does have that, the VY. It's really hard to find this type of alphabet with that VY. Ending punctuation marks. And this is one of the things that a lot of these ending marks are done not necessarily in writing to teach them. They're done in reading when we're looking at books. What's the difference between that telling sentence, that asking sentence, that excitement? And I do this when they raise their hand and they're like, I have a question. And I'm like, awesome, what's your question? And they're like, it's my brother's birthday. And I'm like, that is a statement and that's a great statement, but I don't have to respond to that because you didn't ask me a question. Or, my shoe's untied. I'm like, okay, your shoe's untied. And they're like, when you have a question for me, then we'll talk about it. And they're like, oh, can you tie my shoe? I can help with that now. It's hard. As an adult, we know all these cues. But as a kid, we're still formatting it all. It's still making all those connections. And I don't make a huge deal of it, but I joke with them because they like to laugh. And I will tie the shoe no matter what, as long as it's not a wet shoe. Those are the worst. And educational movements come and go. Word walls are something that is sort of stuck around. We have these references. We have dictionaries in the older grades. We have the internet as adults. Word walls in the primary grade give them something to cling to. It usually starts in pre-K and K with everybody's names. They love to write each other's names. I'm going to write so-and-so a note. And as a parent, you get, Mommy, Daddy, how do you spell this child's name? And there are times where you're like, I have no idea. It's like, go get school. Look on the word wall. See if it's on there. Report back. We did our best, but we could fix it. In admittedly pre-COVID years, my entire classroom has been labeled with labels. COVID year this year, I was unpacking an entire classroom, and they like to touch, and I'm afraid if I label everything and we're all touching it, that I'm transmitting germs. So I'm not as labeled as I usually am. But labels help. You don't have to label your house. I'm not telling you to go print out, or sticky note labels everywhere. But there are words that you get to know that your child is asking you to frequently spell. Sight words are some of those words that they can't sound out. It's okay to give them a list. And there are hundreds of printable lists on the internet for free. If you get stuck, ask your kid's teacher. I know I have many resources that I can provide. I just figured we weren't going to load you down with a big old thing of stuff that was just going to... The big parental question. What about spelling? They didn't spell it right. It's okay. Right now. It's okay. Do you see the sounds in the word that they were trying to make? Do they make sense? Then it's fine. If they spell cat, K-A-T, still looks like cat. If they spell cat, D-Q-Z, let's take another look at that. What letters do you think might say that? We want them to love the writing, not hate it. There's enough time in education for that to happen. Typically happens right around those forced poetry units, in my experience. In the older grades is when a lot of people tune out on writing, and it's sad, because writing is an expression of you, and it should always be that. Encourage them, and it's always that, let's take another look. I love what you did. I like that you got the beginning sound. Let's try to stretch it out for the next sound. Encourage what they succeeded with. Don't focus on what they didn't do as well. Foster that love. My dog is black. He is fuzzy. I love him. His name is Otis. You can get most of that from that. Some of them might be a little more of a teacher code switch. Fuzzy particular, you get fuzz, but you can, with a little bit of work, you can get there. The beginning and ending sounds were there. This child knew where to find is, he, his. Those are sight words that, now he and is you can sound out, although is typically is IZ when kids do it. And accents do play a part in how we sound things out. So be aware of that. That Maryland does in fact have an accent that does change the way, particularly in things like with our O. We don't say O, we say O a lot of it. Accents are a thing. Especially with our non-native English speakers, they will pick up on accental and vocal patterns of other languages. That's okay. As long as you know what they said and they can explain what they said, we're good for now. And I don't care what language they're doing it in. If you don't speak English at home and you're having them write in Spanish, in Farsi, doesn't matter. It will translate to the English in school eventually. Don't lose the language of your culture, of your home, just because somebody's saying they need to write it in English. They'll catch up. That's our job in the school, to get in there in English. Literacy is literacy no matter the language. All right. Write often. Grocery store is never fun. And when you have to take kids, a lot of the times they want, can we get this? Can we get that? We have to go to the store. You're going to have to come with me. It's just the way of the world. Let's sit down and make the list together. Then you can help me find the things. Connects the writing, connects the reading. Have them help you. It gives them ownership over the task, makes it more meaningful, and hopefully is a more pleasant grocery store experience for all parties. Journals. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be organized. They don't necessarily have to write on page 1 and then page 2. If they start at the back and work their way to the front, it's a journal. They're just getting their thoughts down. It can be a dollar store composition book. It could be 6 pieces of paper stapled together. I saw lots of hands for the drawing. I love your drawing. Let's go back and add some labels. I know Aaliyah adds labels to her drawings now. She's a very proud budding artist in my classroom. Very excited to show me her drawings each day. And I love seeing them. And I've seen now the progression, so it's really exciting on the teacher end, for the parent end. Have them go back and label it. Oh, you told me this is a picture of grandma. Let's try to sound out grandma. Don't expect them to sound out the whole word at the beginning. Just look for that. Let's get that G. We encourage a lot of labeling in science, social studies, math. I always want you to tell me how you know. Sending cards and letters to family, particularly at this point in time where traveling isn't what it once was. It's not as easy. Have them draw pictures. I have a lot of kiddos who miss their family that they don't get to see as often anymore. I miss my cousins. I miss my friends. Well, let's send them a letter. You can always include a translation of what it is. It's warm. Ish. Now, we're getting there. Spring is coming. We've had a few tastes of it. Sidewalk chalk. Have them write it. Let's practice some of your, as they get older, they may have words that they're practicing. Let's write some of them outside. Let's write some of your friends' names. Let's write some of our family names. You can write mom, dad, grandma, whatever it is, pet names. Have them write it with chalk. And then get a dollar store paintbrush, dip it in some water, and have them erase it. If you don't want it laying around, get a spray bottle, have them spray that chalk away. 2 activities in one. They make the mess, they clean the mess. And it's a good old time. Spray bottles, big old fun. Just remind them not on bricks. Because they want to write on the side of the school. And then that corrodes the bricks and the custodian gets mad at me. Dry erase boards. Those are huge. Kindergartners love those. Admittedly, some of us would rather draw on our pants with the dry erase marker than the board. Encourage proper, oh no, we only use that on our board. The most important thing, fun writing spots. Doesn't have to be fancy. Getting to change the color, getting to use one of those big fancy pens like mom or dad use at work, getting to go to the dollar. Oh, you get to pick out whatever writing supply you want from the dollar store. That makes a big deal. We had giant pencils that the kids in reading got to use, and they would, when I'd switch for math, they'd be like, "I want that big pencil, Mrs. Arnold." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Let me talk to Miss Johnson and find out." And I found out that was one of their writing incentives, one of those jumbo. You would have thought it was the best thing ever. Like reading, let them see you write. And it's okay to let them see you make mistakes with the writing. As I said, I tell them, guys, we're going to put this up here. Mrs. Arnold's going to check the word, and we're going to fix it later if I spell it wrong. And I joke with them. I say, there's a reason why I teach kindergarten, guys. It's because I can't spell. How to encourage it? Those bath crayons. Writing on the tile wall with those bath crayons. Sidewalk chalk. If you're brave, sand trays. Or salt trays. You can put salt in there instead of sand. I don't recommend sugar because ants really like that. Take a cookie sheet, put some sand on it. I use takeout containers, the flat ones. Put some sand in it, then they can trace things. We've traced shapes. We write words. They can take the end of, like their eraser end of a pencil or a popsicle stick and trace it in there if they're not a tactile with their finger in the sand kind of kid, because some kids, not a texture they like. Shaving cream on the bathroom wall. In the classroom at the end of the year, we put it on our desks to clean the desks off. That's a big one. Again, put it on a cookie sheet, put it on a plastic tray, and they can just write in it. Hair gel bags. We're going to make one of those tonight. And one of the biggest hurdles with our kindergarten and pre-K kids is that fine motor control. You see a lot of this, holding the pencil like this, because these three fingers, that pinching grasp, isn't something that is fostered as much anymore. Excellent ways to help with that. Tweezers. Most people have a set of tweezers in their house. Get some pom-poms or cotton balls and an ice cube tray. Have them move with the tweezers, just using their pincer fingers. This is holding a pom-pom. These two fingers, you don't need when you're writing. Fold up a tissue, have them hold a pom-pom, so they can't use them. We're going to play a game and see who can hold that the longest. I admit, there are times where it is very difficult as an adult to keep those fingers fully out of the way, but it helps build that fine motor. Those beads that snap together, that's another great way, because it works with just Target, I know, sells, it's like the Bee Company or something that sells beads that I found them at the thrift store fairly regularly. Anything threading things through, kids like to, all kids. I have wooden beads from back. They're probably older than I am in my classroom because I inherited them. They love to take shoelaces and make their own necklaces at indoor recess or their own creations. It's anything that's working with the fingers helps build that stamina, because writing is work. You know, when you have to write a lot on a piece of paper nowadays, it's like, man, how did I do this at school? Because I don't think about it anymore, because I don't write as much as I used to because I type it. Typing practice. Now they have computers. But before everybody had a one-to-one device here in PG County, I would get one of the keyboard covers. I would put the sight words out, and they could type on the keyboard cover the words. That way, we weren't, and they thought they were, now that they have their own computer, it's a whole big different thing, but the goal is fun. Parental and readingrockets.org has a lot of really good information for how to know where your kid is on the writing scale and suggestions, like realistic suggestions for home. Not just in writing, but reading. It's a pretty comprehensive, at least from what I've seen from both ends, site. And I'm pretty sure they offer in English and in Spanish. I'm not sure what they have in other languages, because I will admit I haven't done a whole lot of other language research. So I apologize for not having the answer on that one. I'll give everybody a chance. So we're getting to the sort of question before we get to do the make and take. What questions do you all have for me? And I will do my very best to answer them with the knowledge base that I have.
Would be a good time. Really good time for teaching that person.
I'm going to take off my PG County teacher hat and put on my research hat. Cursive is easier to learn than print. Cursive should be the first style of writing that kids learn because it's connected. It flows. Now, throw it in. Explain that there's right now in school you're learning print. This is print at home. If you're willing to tackle that as a parent, we're going to do some cursive. I'm going to teach you how to write your name in cursive. Give the teacher a heads up. If you're comfortable, let them know because they're going to want to write their name in cursive. The minute they figure that out, my print names are gone. Because any of my kids that have older siblings or have figured it out, they're like, I'm writing my name fancy now. As long as I can read it. Like, you want to write your name in cursive, honey? I love it. You do it. So, if they have a good handle on the print, this is PG County. If they're able to understand the print, you can start introducing the cursive. There are many handwriting books out there. The dollar store usually has them for print and cursive. As I said, some of the letters might be formed a little different in PG County because there are, in any educational setting, whoever created it likes to put their name on it and likes to charge big money for it. So there's Zaner Bloser, which is the style of handwriting that most of us think of. There's Denalian, which is the print that's a little more like cursive. Different school districts choose different formats of writing. So the resources out there may be one versus the other. Really, it boils down to as long as they can write in a way that others can read it. When you're an adult, it doesn't matter. Most of us mix print and cursive when we write anyway, and other adults can read it. So at the end of the day, as long as you can read it, and whoever needs to read it can read it. As I said, there will be teachers who are very finicky about it. I just want you to write me a coherent thought. I'm not picky about the method, just get it for me, particularly for me in math. I need to know how you solve that problem. Don't just look at me and go, I wrote, I know. Not helpful, honey. I need you to tell me more. So this is sort of, any other questions? Let them draw, let them color, let them write. You can set the rules at your house. My rule in my classroom is if it's not paper, it should not be written on. By a pencil, by a pen. Dry erase markers are for the dry erase boards only. If I catch you using it on something else, we collect it and you lose that activity for right now. We'll try again later, but for right now, you've proven to me you can't do it. But you are the rule makers in your house. You can have, these are your fun writing supplies. We only use them when we're writing. Or this is your art center. This is your artist. You're going to be an author and an artist in this area of the house. You're going to have your markers for your illustrations, your pens for your writing. I just gave one around my children. I don't remember if I did. It's like cookie pencils. Papermate makes triangle shaped ones that are much easier to hold for little fingers. You get, I think it's a pack of 5 on Amazon for $5. Sometimes you can find them at the dollar store, I think. There is an eraser on the end, mine's just disappeared. I made a deal with one of my kindergarten kids because they are a reluctant writer. They saw me writing with it, and they were like, "What is that?" I said, "Oh, that's my special pencil." And they were like, "It's your special pencil?" And I was like, "If I buy you one, will you be better about writing for me?" And they sat there and they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Let me add that to my cart right now." So I keep it, I have a waitress apron that I keep all my stuff into, that masks, Band-Aids, pencils, markers, things that I need throughout the day. So his pencil has a spot. And when I come in for math, I take the pencil out when we're writing, and he gets it, and then he gives it back to me because it's his special writing pencil. We've had about a 50-50 success rate with it. I'll take it. He got to pick the color, and it's meaningful to him. And it wouldn't be meaningful if I left it with him, though. So creating those parameters makes it special. And give them a chance, swap it out. You know, okay, you've had this fancy feather pen for a couple of weeks. Let's put that away for a little bit. Let's choose something different. They love to get to choose their pencils, their pens, their things. They don't have control throughout the school day a lot of the time because they're on my time and the county's demands and the school's demands. You guys get to do the fun part at home. You can have that and foster that love of writing, whereas sometimes sorry guys, I need you to write this. I know it's not what you really want to be doing right now, but just like when you have a job one day and you have to do a report, school's your job right now. And start it fun. Start it with the pictures. Start it with the fun materials if you can. Have them create things. We're going to make a journal for your child tonight. Have them decorate it or add to it, make it theirs. Most of us have, or you get in the mail those highlight, order our magazine with the stickers. Let them decorate with every one of those stickers that they want. Makes it theirs. So, anybody else? Questions? Suggestions? And some kids are never going to love writing as much as we'd like them to. Some kids are drawing. Why? Why do you want me to draw this picture? I don't want to draw the picture. Okay, you don't want to draw the picture nowadays. Let's make it with clip art. Let's cut things out of magazines. Not as common as they used to be. And I was talking with one of the side-by-side volunteers about back in the day. I used to take, after my calendar was over, if it had really cool pictures, I'd cut off the calendar part, laminate the picture. That was in a writing center. Let's pick a picture and you tell me about it. Writing's hard a lot of the time. It's hard to come up with an idea. Give them something that they can cling to. Or let's take a nature walk and then we're going to write about what we saw. What color were the things? We're going to work on color words this week. Give them something to start with. We need topics to start with as grown-ups. Think about those dreaded icebreakers as a grown-up where you have to write, like 2 truths and a lie. I don't know what to say about myself for this one. We need it too. Give them those things. And they all have, everybody's kid and child in here has something that they are super excited about right now. Whether it's planets, dinosaurs, one of their friends, getting to play outside, waiting for the pools to open. I don't know what it is. Let's write about that. I want you to think about everything. We're going to make a list of everything you think or you know about Pluto. Okay, pools are going to open soon. What do you think we need to have ready for you to be able to use the pool? We're going to make a list to make sure we have bathing suits that fit, towels, sunscreen, snacks for the pool, flip-flops. This is your wish list kind of for when we go to the pool. You can tell me anything you want. Oh, I need the latest, coolest, whatever. Doesn't mean we're going to get it, but this is your writing. And writing can be anything you want it to be. Christmas, when that comes around, I used to put those toy flyers in my writing center. They would write their list of what they wanted. That was one of the things I'd send home saying, look at your child's awesome writing. What you did with it from there, I would always tell the kids, I am not promising anything. What you're putting on that list is just what you would like. And that's where it stays. But I don't make promises unless I've talked to a grown-up. And I can tell you one of the writing things that kiddos love to do is to type a note on the Google Classroom. I think Canvas has a messenger system. I haven't used it because I'm waiting until next year before I tackle that hurdle. Clever has a messaging system. I get QQQMMMZZZZZZ from the kids all the time. So they know how to get to it. I don't know how to get to it from their end, but they know how to get to it and they want to send me whatever. So a lot of it is just random keyboard mashing, but it's meaningful for them. So let it be meaningful at home. Are we ready to do some make and take? All right, so you guys have these awesome folders. We're going to come back to the tables and we're going to do some making and taking. Because if I make it, you might use it. We're going to make some journals. If you have any questions, don't be shy. We'll go along. This is going to be, I will show you what to do. We've got some slides. I think we'll start easy and we'll go to geomaps. You guys tell me where you fall on that.
For these 4,000.
Lovely paper with their lovely notes. This is going to be your very easy, very customizable journal. You have two levels of choose which one you'd like to do the color. In behind the line paper, and we're going to stem up the air. And there should be papers between one of those buttons. Make sure you see where the lines are. Blank part on the top, lines on the bottom. And you're stable. You can do two. I suggest 3 staples. It's not stable, but I do 3 staples on my nose. Sounds like we've got some. And then you've got some stickers if you want to do some customization and some markers for your kiddos in those bins. If you want to put their name on it. Wonderful writing.
Make sure you're putting the line paper between the color papers. So the front cover and the back.
And what you do? If the Leah has it, Mara's gonna need it too. I know that, but that battle doesn't need to happen. This one was easy, right? One of the things I use in the classroom for just writing practice is I take any extra papers that I have and cut them in half, and that's their scratch paper. They love writing on that. Okay, maybe a couple minutes to use, you got the stickers, you got some markers in there. Check it out, then we'll get to the tape and the hair gel and the bags and the You get to choose as the grown-up how much you want to police this room. You can just give it to them and let them go to town, or you can make it a, you write in it, I'm gonna, when you're ready, I'll take a look at what you wrote, we'll talk about it. One of the things they suggest as they get older into those preteen years is journals that you can sort of trade off. I have one with my daughter that she's been told she can write anything she wants to ask you, and she doesn't feel comfortable verbalizing to me. She can write it, and I'll write back. So it's something that can grow as your kids grow. Because some kids are very much, I have a problem, I want to talk to you about it. Other kids are, I'm not going to put that in words. And it doesn't always have to be line paper. Pre-K, they do a lot of freeform on just unlined white paper. Why are we on the move? The sun thing is intense right now. I get it. Well, so to give me a heads up when you're ready to move on to our gel bags. Now, I will tell you, after years of using gel bags, I have some tips to help make them a little more user-friendly, I guess is the best way to put it. You guys, everybody should have baggies and bins. I can take one of these awesome freezer Ziploc bags. One of the things I can say, don't cheap out these dollar store Ziploc bags. If you're gonna make gel bags, if you're gonna make bigger ones, normally I might use whatever brand, but I can tell you, name brand freezer bags, you have a much greater success and less of a mess with the heavier duty. You're going to put a pretty decent squirt of some of this lovely hair gel in this bag. You don't have to worry about sort of smooshing it out. It doesn't have to fill the entire bag. It doesn't have to coat the entire bag. If you want, I do believe everybody's got some food coloring.
I give it that food color.
Yeah, a little goes a long way. I'm just gonna put a little squirt of it in there. And then I'm going to sort of push some of the air out and zip it. So get most of the air out when you zip it after you put the gel in. And there is every time I make these, I end up a little different because either I put too much or not enough. It's okay. We can make it work with a little or a lot. Here's the experienced educator tip. This tape here, there should be tape around. You are going to first want to take off the top of your bag.
Be sure to seal the bag before you start mixing the color into it.
So, fold it over, tape it off. Really make sure it's taped. I admit I tend to do all four sides because what do kindergartners like to do? And then, so I usually will I get whatever the cheapest fancy duct tape I can find is. But once you got the top tape at least, then you can sort of mix the color around. And if you put it down, it makes it a little bit easier to push it around.
Right?
You know what? It's a real nice sensory experience. It's calming.
With the adult one, you should put a little more in there, so you have more.
But this is now, if, like, once you put a little bit of color, if you put it down and you sort of ripen it, you can see the letter or the shape or the whatever you're forming on it. It makes it fun and it's more or less controlled. So it's a fun thing. Put it in the fridge for a little bit. Now it's a cold thing to tactfully touch. And you can make it, you know, with the big freezer bags, you can make them bigger. You can make them, you know, whatever size. Yeah. It's just, I have not personally, because I don't have access to anything to freeze it, but I know that hair gel, you know, it's something that you can, I mean, if you pull it really full, you probably don't freeze it, but as long as there's give, it just makes it a different. And I've seen, I know tonight's about Reading, but I've seen parent blogs where they take them and they tape something to it like a plus sign, and then the kids move pom-poms to either side, do addition problems. The sky's the limit with a very simple little thing.
For those of you with the little ones, you have to be conscious about like the younger children that aren't with the school yet. If you use blue painter's tape, it doesn't ruin your walls. The blue tape, not my tape. You can take these and tape all four sides to the window, and then pull it back nice and smooth, and then it's transparent. So your little ones, 2, 3, 4, can stand at the window. Instead of putting their fingers on your window, they're putting them on the bag, and they're making these colorful shapes, and you can have them work on numbers, all kinds of things.
Also, these are portable. I know that things are opening up. We're going out to dinner. Bring your day. Gives you something for them to focus on while you're having, you know, hanging out with the grown-ups.
Believe it or not, they're just as entertaining as being yourself. Promise.
So, simple little. We're trying to do realistic, useful things.
Before you seal it, you can add small little beads, or have you find Target and little cut pots. You see that. These little tiny erasers, itty bitty little erasers. If you drop them into the gel before you seal it, it allows you to manipulate them by moving them around.
You can take and draw a maze on the bag, and then they have to move the button, the pom-pom, or the eraser through it as a way to get some of that fine motor. Practice it, or just as a fun little game.
You can just draw a circle on it, have them move the pieces to make a face.
And the dollar, at least, I don't know about the one that's right up under one, but the dollar store sometimes has jars and buttons. They come and go, and the craft section they definitely do now.
You can have them in the bottom of the board,
Yeah,
the buttons that fell off.
the buttons you got for free, the shirts you no longer have. I know I, kid buttons are great, kids love buttons. And this is a fairly, you know, you can customize it as, you know, if you want to make another one or make more, you can make it their favorite color. You can use like the fluid coloring or gel food coloring. It's just hair gel. I've seen it. You used to be able to get colored hair gel, which made life much easier, but I haven't seen that in a while.
Be sure to find the make with your kids too. There's not really anything there that's gonna be damaging or toxic. Not like what's inside some of the toys, you're like, what is that in there that's so squishy? You don't really know what it is.
And admittedly, typically when they spring a leak, it tends to be very small first, so you can usually catch it. And be like, okay, we're done with this one has to go now. Before it, now admittedly, if we're jumping on it, that's a different story. We're stomping on it, you know. But. You need another bag. It happens. As I said, and sometimes you will find that some of the bags have a flaw that you did not know was there until you. Yep. As I said, years of many misfires and mistrials with some of these. It does
You
happen.
sure? Do it with that and that one.
I have, yeah, a double
What did you
bag.
bring us? What did you bring us?
I don't know.
Well,
You know, but that's the real, that's life right there. That is, and as I said, I've had many mishaps in my years of being police where things did not go quite like I planned it to, and did not go when I introduced them to the kids quite like I planned. And I've also found that sometimes I have jewelry that has a sharp edge that I did not know about until I used it. And I went, oh, look at that. Oops. We've got, oh,
yes.
that was yesterday. Today, my fingers said. I said, not today, but we will schedule. No, you don't get anything. I do. Am I running now? And it's, they're allowing me to go. They're just so fun. I'm like. Plus they got to. There's the pre-K section of the playground is very exciting. So that's something you can climb on and something. And I think if I'm not wrong, this was dollars per grab. And I do suggest a loop over the open edge. That tape is also a learning curve. One I haven't conquered. Yeah, I have a perfect in the classroom. One person and because the first time they vacuumed in, he vacuumed in schedule. I thought good, it wasn't me. This one was not my fault. This was a vacuum cleaner. I was like, good. I mean, we're in fidget world right now. Those pockets, big ones, they can make letters with those dots. They can make numbers with the dots, they can make shapes. I mean, you can't make the circle necessarily truly with the dots on a pocket, but you got pretty close. Use them. I am currently, because I'm cheap, and Amazon sells these awesome 1 to 100 pockets. I got the ones without the numbers pre-printed on it. And currently writing the numbers on with my Sharpie and then put a little coat of pure nail polish over because the Sharpie will come off. Even with the nail polish over, it will last a little longer. Because when we get to the kindergarten unit of numbers 1 to 100, we're going to get to some pockets and I'm going to make their lives. They know I have pockets and they're like, oh. Because the pockets don't seem to be going anywhere anymore. So might as well use them to our advantage. Plus, good fun with her. You can also make it a game. Roll a die, count down the number of pockets. You go, I go, let's see who has pockets on their side. That's at the end. The fidget world has taken off. The amount of different fidget on that are it. Like, you know, and I've seen now there are purses, puppets, and you know, I mean, that isn't puppets under I've seen the balls. Yeah, and I'm like, how does that work long term? I feel like we should eventually get off the whole of it, but and the cards with all the different puppets coming all the shapes, their colors, huge. I'm the puppet police. My principal doesn't really like them, the kids to bring them. We're allowed to provide them in the classroom for things, but he's like, stop doing puppets. So I'm like, okay, I see it, it's an awesome puppet, and you should put it in your backpack. So if I see it, I have to take it. We've got unicorn, the harness, everything. I've got random sets so that everybody can have one for a math activity in my class, like a class set. And there's a pineapple one that for whatever reason is the best like sensation out of all the ones I got. Because they're like, why is the pineapple one on your desk? And I'm like, because I get stressed. But I have a collection of things because I'm just one of those people who, if it helps you to focus and it doesn't disrupt everything, I will use it out of it. It has to stay here because I don't speak for your pronouns, but fidget spinners work on really good things. A lot of them that's noise when you spin it, which is it's too distracting. It's a good noise, but when I'm trying to teach you and hear it, I focus on that.
So as you finish up tonight, remember that you have your evaluation. If you wouldn't mind taking that handy dandy pen that you got when you came in and jot down your thoughts on there for me. Also, as we're waiting for the children to come up, if you'll put all these materials back into clear bins for me, except for the hair gel bottles, they're gonna get recycled. But make sure like the food coloring is closed all the way, if you don't mind. Anybody who's ever baked, you know. And we'll just put all back in the bins for that.
And don't forget about the summer slide session that's coming up in May.
Oh, yeah. So we see you in May, we're also going to get $40 gift card. So if you're here tonight, if you're here in May. Yep. Yep. Good. Add some food to my bottles. Thank you.
And that's a fun session because that's how we talk about to stop some of the learning loss over the summer.
We have it in the past. We do a summer family literacy distribution. So that'll come into your email as an instructor. You email to have first choice, sign up for it. And it's a great thing. That's just packed with all kinds of activities, games, books for your kids. It's all our stuff is always non-tech because there's so much technology for the children. So we are very non-tech. Like the children downstairs are coloring and they're building with blocks and they're racing cars and they're playing games. They're not watching a movie and so just watch your email for that. That it won't take too long for us to come out if you want us to plan. And we can kind of drive through. Here's the first parking lot. Oh, look, we have